Landscape photography is the best thing in the world, definitely. What amazing light spots here in the landscape. I'm blown away.
The most important device for landscape photography is not your camera, it's not your tripod, or even not your lenses. The most important device for landscape photography is your body. If you have an injury, you are not able to do longer hikes or even to hike up a mountain. But despite that, there are even anyway ways how to get out fantastic photographs with an injury, and there's also a way how to accelerate the healing process massively. I have an injury currently at my knee, so in this video I will tell you exactly what I do against this situation and how to get out anyway great photographs with my injury. Hi my friends, very nice to see you, and let me be honest, if I had the choice I would prefer not to make a video like that, but yeah, I mean it is how it is. I have an injury in the moment and I thought it could be interesting for some of you out there to know how I handle this situation, because I have two options now. I could wait that the injury goes away, and it will definitely go away without doing anything, or I could do two things. I could look for a way to get out anyway some fantastic photographs with injury, but without making it worse. And the second thing I could do is, I could do anything to get faster rid of my injury and that it even heals better, so that I don't fall back to the problem afterwards. So I hope this video will be useful for each landscape photographer out there who has also an injury like me in the moment, what we don't hope of course, and everyone who plans to get one. And not really, I mean it could happen anytime and it might be good to be prepared. I will tell you later a bit more what happened to me and what I will do to get rid of that faster. But first of all, most important, let's go for a photograph. And the problem is, through my injury, I'm totally limited with walking. 15 minutes to a spot is the highest possible in the moment for me, and there should be no steeper parts. So what I did is, I picked out a couple of places where I think I could stay below these 15 minutes and where are no steep parts included. And this is also my first tip for you. If you have an injury, just create a list of places where you can go, what is not a problem for your knee, leg, hip, wherever you have your pain, and again, what we don't want to hope of course. And it was quite difficult to find places like that, to be honest, but finally I anyway found some around me, and yeah, these are maybe not the most spectacular places in the world, but they will anyway give me the option to get out a photograph, and maybe even a fantastic one. We will see. You know, usually it is a good idea to walk to these places before you go there for photography, just to get a better idea about your options and maybe also to work already on your composition. But the biggest problem with an injury is that I'm totally limited with moving around. I try to avoid hiking and walking as much as possible. And this means I will forgo for location scouting. I will just try to go there at a time where I think the conditions were promising. And finally I found one place around me what looked really promising, not far to walk, no steep parts, and the weather could work at least for one day next days. So let me show you. I found this place here. There is a fantastic view to these mountains in the distance. They are far away, so I don't think that we will find a good foreground, but we could anyway get out a great photograph if we are able to bring depth into our photograph. And this we can achieve here by getting sidelight from the left, what would give us more plasticity to the scene, and finally depth obviously. So this means we need direct sunlight from the left, but not too harsh light. Clear sky would lead into too harsh light. We would need just a soft layer of clouds. So let's have a look at the weather maps for the next days. In these maps we can see the rain, the low-level clouds, mid-level clouds and the high-level clouds. And as we can see, on Friday we have a thinner layer of low-level clouds. This could lead into softer light, and maybe there were also some gaps possible for getting light spots through already during the day, what could look even spectacular. On Saturday we will have clear sky only, and we will have also blocking clouds from the west, so Friday looks fine for me. I would say let's go for that.
So I'm here now at the spot, and if you watch my videos already for longer, you know I often mention that it's so important to get into connection with Mother Nature, and how important it really is we will see at this spot here. Because yeah, to be honest, I parked my car around 5 minutes from here, so yeah, a big hike. But yeah, it's because of my knee. And when we have a look from a higher point, so if you have a look at Google Maps for instance, we see that we are in a village. So I mean, we are surrounded by buildings, at least at this side. So when you have a look at the other side, it doesn't look all too bad. So it's a really fantastic view out there, a really fantastic vista. The only thing is, it's really difficult to get into connection with Mother Nature, because I'm missing a little bit this adventure, this landscape photography adventure, what I usually have when I'm up in the mountains, hiking around, or through the woodland or whatever. But yeah, it is how it is. I'm grateful to be here. It's really, really fantastic here. I don't have all the many options, to be honest. So we have this sandbank here in the foreground. I didn't expect to get this. Yeah, I mean, it was not possible to see this on Google Earth, but it is how it is. So usually when I'm out for photography, I always think about my options. I try different angles, I walk around, and yeah, this is something what's difficult today. I mean, in the one hand, the problem with my knee, and in the other hand, when we look around, yeah, we are surrounded by water here, so it's not all too possible to walk around. We could go back there, but as already mentioned, I have the problem with the knee. It's really, yeah, it will not a big deal. I mean, I think in 10-15 minutes maybe we were back there, but yeah, with the knee I really try to move as little as possible. So I've gone already in setup here, and as we don't have a really fantastic foreground here, but I mean also if we would have a really close foreground, the problem is the distance back there is really, really far. So our problem is here, these mountains back there are giants, and so if I would use an ultra wide angle lens, for instance, so you look through an ultra wide angle lens, for instance, you see these giants back there, not as giants but more as gnomes. So it's okay for the video, I think, but yeah, for the photograph I really want to take a longer focal length, and yeah, to show these giants as they are. And yeah, as you can see, we always get some light spots through. This looks really, really pretty good. The only thing, I would prefer to get the light spots a little bit more to the left, so to the distance, that we draw the viewer's eyes more to the center of our image, that we get a flow into our photograph. Also, if we don't use a foreground, it's not always necessary to use a foreground. So I would say I will wait here a little bit, and fingers crossed that you get the light spot more into the center of the frame or more into the distance here. And for the case that this shouldn't work, what could also be because we have light spots there in the way, and I think that the clouds could even resolve more and more. For that case, I hope that we would get direct sunlight from the left. I think this would also give us a fantastic plasticity up there in the mountains, and a fantastic feeling of depth. So yeah, let's wait for that.
Nothing is untrue, nothing don't matter. It's all notions of our emotions.
It is amazing. It is exactly that what I meant before. When we have the light a little bit more in the distance, we get a fantastic feeling of depth, and it looks really, really brilliant. And so I got a lot of different light spots here on the mountains. I took different exposures already, and yeah, I will have a look at my photographs afterwards, and I will pick out that photograph where I think the light spots fits most. I have a couple of favorites already, and yeah, I'm not sure. You will see the final photograph right now. So let's make the click. I made already lots of clicks, so let's have a look at the photograph. Yeah, this contrast looks really amazing, and I'm thinking already about if I should make a black and white of this, because yeah, it could look really dramatic also with these clouds up there. They are a little bit sharp edged, and I thought already about if I want to go with a little bit longer exposure, but yeah, I don't really like this effect of blurry clouds, to be honest, so I will stick with that. I think it anyway will look really dramatic, and I'm so happy that I came out also with my insured knee, so really fantastic.
Nothing is untrue,
landscape photography is the best thing in the world. Definitely. What amazing light spots here in the landscape. I'm blown away. So I'm so happy that I came here. Before I came here, I was, to be honest, I was quite a little bit uninspired, and yeah, I didn't really know. I mean, I knew what I would roughly photograph here, but yeah, when you're out there could be nothing better just to be out. And also, in the beginning here, when I was here, this spot, I mentioned that the adventure is missing. So yeah, meanwhile, I'm here now for quite a while now, and meanwhile, it really feels like an adventure, a micro-adventure maybe. I do exposure bracketing here because we have really high contrast between these bright light spots, not only on the mountains, also sometimes up in the clouds. It's a little bit too much for the dynamic range of the camera, and this is why I take exposures. So 1 right exposed, 2 underexposed and 2 overexposed. And yeah, I will pick out the right one, or if it's not possible, I will blend them in Photoshop or even an HDR, something like this. I'm not sure. I will have to pick out the right exposure today. I think I will wait still a little bit more, and then we will meet back in my office.
Nothing don't matter. It's all notions of our emotions, of everything we are and what we belong to, how we reach our destination.
What an enjoyable afternoon out there. If you should ever have an injury and you are not able to do longer hikes, I can really recommend take a sheet of paper and write down a short list with possible spots. And also, if you think the photographs will not get masterpieces, it could be that you will be surprised. Well, I'm not a doctor or so, but I think this could be useful if you should ever get an injury. So let me give you some tips here. But first of all, and this is really just quick, what happened to me? Some of you might remember my video with that amazing frozen waterfall some weeks ago where I got nearly hit by a snowslide. And what I didn't tell you is, on the way to the waterfall, I fell down on a route with my knee obviously. Yeah, it was really slippery out there in the forest. I didn't mention it in the video because I didn't think it was important for the video, and I also didn't think that it was a big thing or so. But yeah, meanwhile this is already 4 weeks ago and it is still not over, so I thought I will make this video here where I give you some tips what you can do to get rid of this issue. So let me give you 3 quick tips here. What I do is, first of all, I go to a doctor just to get sure that nothing is broken or so. Most people do this, I think, and yeah, this is a good thing. But what I also realized is most people do step number 2. And it might be that this will sound not after a good tip, but honestly, this is the most important tip when you have an injury. What I do in the second step is, I go to a good physical therapist, because he knows exactly which parts he has to mobilize, which moves are allowed, which are disallowed, and even which moves will support the healing process. And that's really cool. So in my case, I have an injury at my knee. This means I usually would not try to bow my knee. But my physical therapist says it heals faster and even better when I slightly bow it. I just shouldn't overdo it or walk in steeper areas. But this is just for my particular injury. If you have an injury at your knee, it could be that you should not bow it. So really important, go to a physical therapist. He will give you the best advice here. And in my experience, you will be able to do bigger hikes weeks earlier than without a therapist. Well, and the third tip is also really important. If you think it is already healed, don't start immediately with your hiking tours. Extend your break a little bit more just to get safe that it is really healed and that it stays healed after your first hike as well. By the way, my original plan was to use this time of the year for location scouting, for spring photography, and also to find these places where my grandfather has painted some of his paintings back then, to go there again with my camera. This is not possible in the moment because of my knee, but it will definitely come here on this channel and I'm super excited about that. Same with the camper van project, by the way. I just need some more weeks that my knee gets okay. But what I did meanwhile is, as I was chained to my office, I invested my time into another really fantastic project. And there will come an own video about that in some weeks. Yeah, I'm also super excited about this one. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, I'd be really happy if you could give me a thumb up. And don't let's forget about your friends. Share this video with your friends on Instagram and Facebook. Let them also get inspired when they have an injury. Thank you so much for watching. See you next Saturday. Bye.